And joining me now is Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Dr. Ben Carson. Dr. Carson, great to see you, sir.
Great to see you again, David.
You know, this time during the holidays, when so many people are charitable across this country, a lot of attention paid, obviously, to the homeless crisis, one that's growing across America. Your recent report shows a 2.7% rise overall across the country, but that's largely driven by California's increase at 16.4%. The numbers are significant and broken out by states and weather, and we'll get into all of that. But my first question is the human capital, the cost, and these are lives, not just numbers. What does that mean to you?
Well, you know, I've been to California a number of times, and I've seen those people. And first of all, recognize that across the country, if you take the other 49 states and average it out, homelessness is going down. There's enough of an increase in California, 16.4%, to drive the entire equation up by 2.7%. So it tells you how significant the problem is. And you have so many people there on the street who are just miserable. You look at them, they've lost hope. And we have to realize that these are our fellow American citizens. In many cases, they're people who are incapable of taking care of themselves. In other cases, they're people who've fallen on hard times. In either case, you know, we do have the ability to take care of them, but it should be recognized that this is a state and local government responsibility. It is not the responsibility of the federal government. Federal government is quite willing to help, however, in these situations, and particularly given the fact that it's reached crisis proportions in California. But it's going to require, you know, the local authorities and the state to cooperate, stop throwing firebombs and wanting to actually get this thing done.
Now, I know that as a doctor, you like to look at things in a very holistic manner. But let's talk about resources here. You talk about state and local governments and resources being applied. Governor Newsom in California has applied over $1 billion to this issue. Money doesn't solve the problem. So how do we reconcile money and resources?
No, well, you know, in science, we like to look at the facts. We like to look at the evidence. And that's what I would strongly recommend in this case. You know, look at other states. We have 50 laboratories, 50 states that do things in various ways. Let's look at the ones that are highly successful. You know, look at Texas and how much their homelessness has gone down over the last year and over the last 5 to 7 years. Significant decreases because the policies don't encourage people to sleep on the streets. They encourage people to go to the places where they can get the kind of help that will get them into the right situation. And then you have to look at the way people treat people who are mentally ill. You know, some people say it's compassionate just to let them do anything they want to do. That's not compassionate at all. What's compassionate is helping people who cannot take care of themselves manage. And if we can get them into the right setting so that they're getting proper medications and counseling, many of them become quite functional at that point.
Secretary Carson, what's the correlation between the politics of this? That is a component here as we look at the number of states. There's also weather and the homeless. You would think that typically in the warmer states, this is where they would all be. But in your recent HUD report on homelessness, the facts actually lead us in a different direction.
That is correct. Some of the states with the lowest amount of homelessness are quite warm states, like Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and Virginia. So that is not the case. But what happens is a lot of times the policies are problematic. Now, people don't mean to do bad things. Don't get me wrong. You know, Housing First, for instance, it's meant to be a good thing. Just get people off the street, don't have any requirements of them, and you've done your job. But I think it should be housing first, second, and third. Housing second, you figure out why they're on the street in the first place, and housing third, you fix it. That's where the real compassion comes in. The places that are just applying housing first are the ones who've resulted over the last 5 years in a decrement and transitional housing beds of 77,778. At the same time, the unsheltered homeless number has gone up by 35,000. Do the math. You know, we have the right policies. We may have the number of beds that we need to take care of them, but when you exclude that number of transitional beds, you create a much bigger problem. And, you know, this is not necessarily just a Democrat problem. There are Republicans also who have been, let's just say, taken in by the housing first strategy and not really analyzed the complete program and what the outcome is. And you have to really be able to look at all those facts, look at the data, and then make your decisions based on that, not on ideology. That is the key to fixing this problem.
Secretary Carson, there's so much more to this, and I know we'll have to take it on continually through the future, but thank you again for joining me tonight on Lou Dobbs, and a Merry Christmas belated to you, and a Happy New Year, sir. Thank you.
Same to you, David. Thank you so much.